And what happens is when we dissociate from our anger for whatever reason, whether we talk ourselves out of it, that's what most of us do, is we dissociate into our brain, our upstairs, if you will, our upstairs brain, and we dissociate from our body where our inner child lives. And our body's like, what the hell are you doing, Bronwyn? And my brain's like, no, 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 it's okay. Like, I'm just going to let that, it's fine. I'll be okay. And so when I look back, for my life, the times where my depressive episodes were so profound is when I was actively betraying myself, where I was dissociating from my anger.
Welcome to Normalize the Conversation. I'm your host, Francesca Reigeter. Today, I'm joined by Bronwyn Schweigerdt, a licensed psychotherapist and author who helps people heal by guiding them to face and express their hurting emotions, especially anger. Anger is often misunderstood and pushed aside, and it can silently contribute to depression and emotional repression. In this conversation with Bronwyn, we uncover the hidden connection between suppressed anger and depression. Together, we unpack what's really happening beneath the surface and how to release what's been held inside. Learn how acknowledging your anger can unlock the door to emotional freedom and help you finally feel at peace within yourself. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am very excited for our conversation. But before we begin, I want to check in. How are you really?
Wow. How am I really? I am really, really good today. Yeah. Thank you for asking me, Francesca.
Of course, I think a lot of times we forget to check in with ourselves and
Mm,
truly check in with each other. And I've noticed lately for me, something I've been struggling with is increases in my depressive episodes.
mm,
And when I sat down, I was prepping for our episode a little bit actually, and I was reflecting on why am I feeling this way? Like, why
mm,
am I suddenly going from my depression was very manageable and I was doing really good to having
mm,
these severe episodes?
mm,
And I reflected back on the last 2 weeks and I had some things canceled because of things outside of my control with legislation. And
mm,
I started to feel very angry. But
mm,
instead of expressing that anger, instead of admitting that anger, I just held it
mm,
all inside internally
mm,
until I was on the floor, on the phone with my mom, crying. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, the world is ending. So much
mm.
so that she's on a plane on her way here right now to give me a hug. So, but it made me realize how much of a role anger plays in our mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my specialty as a therapist is anger. And I chose it because I think it plays the role in our mental health, like the role. And I kind of came by that by accident because I had some very, very profound depressive episodes of my own to the point where I wasn't functioning at all. Um, and when I started to become a therapist and started working as a therapist, I kind of started connecting the dots between my own experience and then what I'm hearing from my clients. And I'm like, wow, so that anxiety or that panic attack or that depressive episode, like it seemed like it was prompted by that one thing that really maybe could have made you feel angry, but you didn't allow yourself to. And then I saw that retrospectively in my own life, like, oh, wow. So those years of my life that I was, not functioning all started with that one event or that other event. And I think what that is about, so I call it dissociated anger, where we're dissociating from our anger. And what happens is when we dissociate from our anger for whatever reason, whether we talk ourselves out of it, that's what most of us do, is we dissociate into our brain, our upstairs, if you will, our upstairs brain, and we dissociate from our body. And our body, I think, is where our inner child lives. And our body's like, what the hell are you doing, Bronwyn? And my brain's like, no, 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 it's okay. Like, I'm just going to let that, it's fine. I'll be okay. And we start to disintegrate, right? We're not being integrated as a whole person. And there's this like schism within us where we're betraying ourselves. And so when I look back, for my life, the times where my depressive episodes were so profound is when I was actively betraying myself, where I was dissociating from my anger. And what happened, our anger isn't there to just make us a quote angry person, a hothead, or if you will. My anger, our anger, but in my case, my anger was there saying, be true to me. Do not betray me. So in this instance, that would mean having a voice with this supervisor who's asking you to do something that you're not ready to do, which I didn't have a voice with him. I think I related to him as like a father figure. And even though he wasn't technically that much older than me, I still wanted my daddy's approval. And so I still wanted his approval. And I was kind of enmeshed and I didn't see all that. And so I betrayed myself. So I did see the clients he wanted me to see that I wasn't ready for. And that hurt me. And it just sent me in this downward spiral of just self-betrayal. And that creates a lot of disharmony in ourselves.
Thank you for sharing. It
Mhm.
really, self-betrayal, we do it every day, or we
Mhm.
often do it every day. I
Mhm.
know a lot of times, I can say for me and my friends, we do it when we go online on social media and we start following these accounts that we know make us feel bad about ourselves. And then we feel frustrated. Why aren't we there yet? Right.
Mm.
And then it turns into this anger of, I should be more. What is wrong
Yikes.
with me? And the spiral, and we just kind of do it to ourselves in so many ways without
Yeah.
realizing it because we're just going along with what we think we should do.
Yeah, and I can tell you as a therapist that no one is how they look on social media. Like I see the real deal of people who outwardly might look like everything is so happy and they have it together, and that just doesn't exist. So we are actually deceiving ourselves and we're hurting ourselves and we're shaming ourselves, right? Yeah, it's a cycle. So we're betraying ourselves. You're absolutely right. We're hurting ourselves. And for what? Like, how is it motivating us? No, it's making us actually more debilitated.
Yes, exactly. I was just reading a newsletter yesterday that someone posted about how we're all always pretending. We're pretending to be okay, we're pretending to have it all figured out. And then we're looking at everyone else who's also pretending.
Yeah.
And it's just creating this disconnect. And then we constantly sit there and feel bad about who we
Mm,
are instead of acknowledging how amazing we
mm,
are, how much knowledge we do have, how
mm,
much impact and power we do have. We just
mm,
constantly betray ourselves until we get to a
mm.
place where we just completely shut down.
Yeah, and I think at the heart of what you're saying, Francesca, we're looking outside of ourselves for some kind of arbitrary metric to see our own worth. And that's really the problem because, I used to look to, my looks, my physical appearance, my physical physique, and as anyone who's done that, they know it's never enough. I mean, you might look dazzling for like 1 hour or in one photograph or one event, but you're thinking like, "Oh, what did I eat so I can maintain this?" Like you'd never get to a place of like, "Whew, I can just rest. I can just have peace." Like it's insatiable, right? And if you're vying for other people's approval, which a lot of us I call, people who are on the codependent spectrum, we're approval addicts. Like we can't get enough. It's never enough. When I was in grad school, my professor, if I had a professor who thought I was amazing, it was never enough. It made me feel happy for like one day. And then the next day I'm back to trying to maintain that or get it from another professor or get it from another class. It never satisfies. And so when we just kind of surrender, just kind of give up on all of that and we give ourselves our approval, where again, that's integration. We're integrating, like my adult self with little Bronwyn just looks at her and says, you know what? I don't care what other people think. I think you are good. And I give you permission to be human, which means making lots of mistakes, because that's what humans do best. We make lots of mistakes and learn from them. And there's no shame in that. That is beautiful. And I love you not because of what you do or how you look or how you say things. I love your heart. And you won my approval the day you were born, because that heart inside has always been that heart. And you will have my acceptance until the day you leave this earth. And nothing can ever detract from that. You know what? Now, little Bronwyn, you are free to be true to you. And you're free because you have me, you have my approval. You're free to disappoint the hell out of everyone else in the process.
That is so powerful. It's something that I really struggle with is creating that space for the younger version of me. And
Mm,
my therapist, oh, she has so much patience with me. I really appreciate her. Because she tries to create that space for me. She's like, what would you say to younger you? Like,
mm,
pretend like she's sitting right there. What do you want to say to her? And I'm like so angry with her. I'm like, why did you fall apart? Why didn't you
mm,
like figure out how to keep it together? Why did you let us end up in a psych unit? Like, there's just so much
mhm,
anger there and frustration.
mhm,
And she's been trying to help me realize that I look for this approval and validation from every single person around me, but I refuse to give any of it to myself at
mm,
all. And anytime I look inward, I'm like, you're not good enough. And if I keep allowing those
mhm,
thoughts to
mm,
cycle and grow, it is
mm,
really going to be hard to start to move
mm.
through the depressive episodes, especially when they get so bad.
So, Francesca, can I just play therapist to you right now?
Go for it. I love this.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like you have a lot of shame for ending up in a psych ward. By the way, I'm a therapist and I have been in a psych ward, like on the patient end of it. So I I understand what that's like and how much shame that can create. But it sounds like you have a lot of shame. So um, can I ask you just to close your eyes and to tell me where you feel that in your body, that shame, like you failed yourself?
In my chest and in my hands. Like it feels tight, and then I feel like this tightness in my fist.
Okay. So what would your fist want to say to that, Francesca, if it could speak in raw and uncensored? I want you to let your fist say it, not your brain.
Oh, it just wants to like blow up. Like, how did we like
Mm,
not see the signs sooner and like
mm,
reach out for help?
mm,
And it's just, I want to
mm,
say, like, you didn't have to go through this alone.
mhm. Okay, so I want you to picture younger Francesca who's in that psych ward that you're really angry at, that your fist wants to blow up at. And I want you to imagine you go to that younger Francesca and maybe you lift up her chin and you look her in the eyes and you say, younger Francesca, I am really angry with you because you let it get really bad. And it really, really infuriates me that how you let things slide for so long and you didn't reach out for help. But I can also take into account the bigger picture that you have always had these really unrealistic expectations of yourself. And maybe you were conditioned from your early childhood to feel responsible for other people's feelings and not for yours. And maybe that is what led you to this place where you're at now. And because I can take all that into account, I forgive you. I forgive you. And younger Francesca, I want you to forgive me too, because I wasn't there for you. I neglected you. I was not responsible for your feelings. I was too busy seeking other people's approval and being responsible for everyone else's feelings. So my eyes are opening that you need me and that I am powerful for you. And I ask your forgiveness for me too. And I'm learning that you matter. And I'm learning to be responsible for you. And I want to put all the shame that you feel, that we feel about ending up here in this big cardboard box right now. And we're just going to throw it in the ocean because it's not our shame. It's not ours. We're human. We make mistakes and we're going to learn from them, but we're not shameful. And then I want you to give her a big hug and just tell me what you feel in your body right now, Francesca.
I feel like a tingling, like I actually feel a little bit lighter. That was good. Like I actually want to smile for her.
Good. Well, because that is a reunion. That's the first step. There needs to be more, but that's the first step in a reunion between you and younger Francesca.
That was really good because, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it was. Always feeling like I had to put everyone else first. I mean, still to this day, that's something I struggle with. And
Mhm.
one thing I did learn very, very slowly was through that kind of like anger of why didn't you reach out for support? Why didn't you, like, you didn't have to go through this alone, is to not allow myself to go through it alone anymore and to start reaching out, but also forgiving that version of me that didn't know she could reach out because she felt like the weight of the world was on her shoulders to make sure everyone else felt okay first.
Yeah, that's it. So a lot of us are conditioned from our early childhood to believe we are responsible for other people's feelings. And, when you think about it, that's actually not even possible. I tell people, like, you can believe you're responsible for others' feelings, but you will die trying because it's not possible. And when we believe that, we cannot simultaneously be responsible for our feelings. And yet the truth is, we are only responsible for ourselves. We are responsible to others, but never for them.
Yes, that is so powerful.
Mm,
We, at least I can say from my experience, often think that it's my responsibility to make other people feel better. So,
mm,
backstory to me ending up in a psych unit, I lost my grandparents got into a car accident, lost my grandfather,
mm,
almost lost my grandmother, broke almost every bone in her body. I slept on a hospital chair next to her for 10 nights. Like I would not leave her side. I just had to make sure she was okay. And then
mm,
shortly after that, lost my uncle and moved in with my aunt and cousins and tried to just make sure they were okay through all of it. I didn't give myself a chance to grieve or cope or
wow,
experience anything. I took on
yeah,
that feeling of I have to fix everything for everyone. And
yeah.
then was too much, ended up in a psych
Mm,
unit. And then
wow,
blamed myself for like, how did you let this
mm,
happen? But I didn't know better because I was
mm,
raised to always prioritize making sure other people felt
mm,
like someone was there and helping them get
mm,
through it.
yeah. Yes, those early templates, they're invisible, they're unconscious, but unless we kind of wake up to them and deconstruct them and reorient them, they will rule our lives.
Yeah, they really will. So for people listening who maybe they're listening and they're like, I also have had these mental health symptoms. And I have never thought about maybe that underlying anger, that root cause of them. How can they begin to explore if and where that anger may exist?
Hmm. Yeah. So we need to start with kind of where did we learn to dissociate from the anger? So I believe most of us likely learned that probably when we were, 1 to 2 years old, when we were differentiating the terrible twos, which I want to change that term, terrible twos. It's the awesome twos. But that child is differentiating and they say no. And they have boundaries with mom, and mom usually doesn't know how important it is to allow for those boundaries. And maybe mom is insecure. I know I didn't want my daughter to differentiate. It made me feel not so great. And so mom will say, no, you don't get to do that, or they'll do the silent treatment, and that makes that little child like, oh my God, if I show anger, I'm going to be abandoned. I can't afford to be abandoned. I'm just a little kid. I'm so dependent. And so we create these templates that anger equals being alone, anger equals shame, right? And so we have to do that integration work where we go back and we let little Francesca know, you know what? You differentiate, little Francesca. That's good. And we're going to, you know what? You can't lose me. Maybe you can lose mom, maybe mom backs away when you differentiate, but I'm right here and you'll never lose me. I'm going to validate your differentiation, right? And so as we do that, we become more whole, and it heals our relationship with our anger to where we're able to say, you know what? I can just feel angry right here in my body. I don't have to say or do anything right now. I'm just going to feel it. I'm going to validate it. And then I'm going to work with my body, which wants to express it in some way, maybe through a boundary, maybe through assertiveness. Maybe it's something like, hey, Francesca, we said we'd meet at 2. It's 2:20. What's up? That's just me channeling out my anger in a healthy way. Do you feel like it's anger? No, because it doesn't sound angry, but that's me being responsible for this anger inside me. And now it's not haunting me. It's not stagnating inside my body, making me sick anymore.
I I mean, I knew there were healthy ways to express your anger, kind of, but I never thought about it like that. How it can be, I'm upset and angry with this. I'm always late, by the way, and I apologize to all my friends
No, you
constantly.
weren't late with me. No.
That's true. My friend today was like, "Can you come at 4:10?" after telling me 4 o'clock, and I was like, "You already know I'm not gonna be there till after that, so tell me 4." But always late, and I'm sure that sometimes they feel like angry and frustrated and they don't say it to me. And eventually I got to get better, but eventually that can build up to a rupture in our relationship. It
Yeah.
can lead up to this resentment that I don't even realize because of that
Hmm.
limited or lack of communication about it. The boundaries can be such a great way to express that anger in such a healthy way. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we will feel resentment even if we're not aware of it. And we aren't aware of it until it's like kind of high, kind of flowing over the top. So, yeah, in any friendship, in any partnership, if we can be responsible for it in the moment, we're really doing everyone a favor, not just that person, not just ourselves. Like for me to say to my husband, I'm starting to feel resentful right now. Like that's what I need to say, not wait until and pretend like I'm not, talking about pretending. Let's just be human. Let's be honest. I'm going to say it right now. And that helps him know, oh, okay. I'm glad he shared that with me so I can do better right now before it builds, right?
Yeah, we often forget that we can communicate that we can be honest about how we're feeling. A lot of times, at least I know for me personally, it's like this idea that, well, it's my fault that I'm angry with this, so I need to just get over it and figure it out and let it go.
Mhm.
And it only continues if nothing changes. So to
Mhm.
be able to recognize it and talk about it is huge. A lot of times I forget that we can do that.
Well, not everyone is a safe person to do that with, right? So that does require a safe person. And I think that's the litmus test if someone is a safe person, really. But in general, yeah. So I see anger as a light on the dashboard of our emotional car saying, hey, check under the hood. There's something that needs your attention, it needs resolution. And that's really the goal. And if we can see anger as that, as it's a warning for our sake, for everyone's sake, and the goal is to resolve things, it's not to explode, it's to deal with something before it gets worse.
That makes so much sense. I love that metaphor. You don't have to wait for the car to break down. It's that check engine light coming on to know, let's see what's going on. I know a lot of people, me included, like to wait till a long time after the check engine light comes on to address it.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe outside of the metaphor and with the metaphor, being able to just do that check-in, figure out what's going on, really explore it within ourselves, process it a bit, and then create that communication in a way that's healthy, but not waiting till we approach it with wanting to fight.
Right. Or get depressed because that's anger turn inward. Or anxiety is anger turn inward. In fact, I would say, and I say this on my podcast, mania, psychosis, um, even, you know, OCD. And now there's a lot of research showing autoimmune disorders. There's like insomnia, headaches, migraines, digestive disorders, vertigo. There's so many things that are just manifestations of anger that is in our bodies stagnating and making us sick. So, yes, so we need to learn that we matter and we need to help our own inner child know that she matters. Her anger matters. And we're going to be responsible. We're going to attune to her.
That is, again, so powerful. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, I'm definitely someone who turns inward. One of my friends recently was like, just yell it out. And I was like, I can't, I don't yell. I just turn it inwards and get mad at myself. And then, like, in my brain, yell at myself and criticize myself. And
Mm-hmm.
something that I live with is bipolar 2 disorder. So a lot of times I can go up for a bit and then I crash down so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was on the phone with my parents crying this week multiple times. I was like, but I don't know why. Like, I genuinely don't know why I'm feeling this way. And I bet if I took even more time. I mean, talked about it a minute ago. Last night, sitting there preparing for our episode, realizing like all these things are happening outside of my control. And I'm very, very angry about it. And I'm turning
Mm-hmm.
it in as if it's my fault. Meanwhile, I just can't control when other things are happening, other people's actions are
Mm-hmm.
then changing the way that we're able to approach mental health education, which is where I got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So not having any agency for you is like really a trigger. I hear that.
Yes, it is. And it's so, when I say it out loud and when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's so, and I invalidate myself. I'm like, oh, that's so silly. Like, how can you get upset over things you don't have control of? Like when you're sitting in traffic or when a flight gets
Mm-hmm.
delayed, like you don't have control over it. So why are you getting upset? And that's like the messaging I'm telling myself. And it's making me even more like angry with myself for feeling that
Mm-hmm.
until
Yeah.
I get to that place of just feeling like I don't matter anymore.
So tell me, Francesca, when I want you to imagine that you're in traffic right now and you have no control, and tell me what you feel in your body when you're sitting there and you have no agency.
Oh, I want to scream because I'm already late. That's the thing. I'm already running late.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then traffic is amplifying it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I should have left earlier. What is wrong with me? Why didn't I map this out first to see what the traffic was going to look
Yeah. I hear what your head's doing, but I want to hear about your body. Where do you feel that? You said you feel like in your throat you want to scream, or
like?
do you feel that in your chest, or do you feel it somewhere else?
I'd say in my throat and in my chest.
Okay. So I want you to close your eyes and I want you, this is fun. I want you to just focus on those sensations and I want you to let your mind float back to the earliest time you felt those same sensations, whatever comes to mind.
Do you want me to say it out loud?
Yeah, if you're comfortable to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was when I was 5 years old. My older sister, in a way that an older sister does, was like making fun of my body. And then
Mm,
at cheer practice or tryouts, we were required to step on a scale to see if we were small enough to be a flyer. And I like couldn't control the fact that I was 5 years old and that's
mm,
what my body looked like. And everyone
mm,
was making me do like step on a scale to see if I was
mm,
small enough. And I just had no voice and no
mm,
control.
Okay. So, what do you feel in your body now when you
Oh,
say
it's tightness in my chest and in my head, like a headache.
Okay, so I want you to say to your brain, I really appreciate you, but you're going to take a break right now and I'm just going to stay in my body. I'm not going to dissociate. from my body, and I'm going to feel whatever my body feels, wherever it feels it. And just tell me if you notice anything shift in your body.
Feel a little bit of a release.
And do you feel the tension still in your chest?
No.
Do you feel anything in your gut?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so you don't feel anything now.
I feel a little bit lighter.
Okay, so I want you to tell your body, you know what, little Francesca, I am going to give you a voice. I know you want to scream. I don't blame you. Your sister and other people are making you feel like you have no agency and you feel shame. And I don't blame you for feeling that way. But I am going to be the person, that attachment figure for you that gives you agency because you matter to me. Your needs matter, your wants matter, your feelings matter to me. And we're going to put all the shame that you feel right now about your body in this big cardboard box. And we're going to throw it into the ocean because there's no shame. You can be whatever you are. There's no judgment. There's no metric that defines your worth. I'm the one who sees you, and what I see is good. And I see a precious little girl, and I am so pleased with you. And now we can feel all our feelings together because what's shareable is bearable. So you don't have to feel that anger in isolation anymore. It's valid, and we're going to feel it together, and we're going to work collaboratively to channel it out of our body in healthy and productive ways.
Literally gonna cry. It feels so good to like release some of that tension in my body because I think, and I feel maybe it's really common for us to forget that we do feel it in our bodies, and there is that physical manifestation. And I know for me, I just let my body exhaust itself, and then I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I getting so tired and just
Mm,
running out of
yeah.
energy and crashing and not wanting
Mm,
to do anything? And a
mm,
lot of times I just then associate, like, think this is normal to feel this way. Think it's normal
mm,
for my chest to feel so tight that a lot of times it's hard to breathe, or I just have these really bad migraines until I'm physically
mm,
sick and thinking, like, this is just how it should be. Or like my jaw is clenched and my shoulders are
mm,
raised, and like I'm
mm,
just an intense person, is what I'll tell myself. And a lot of times I forget that
mhm,
these early experiences are still
mhm,
being held within my body. The body keeps score.
mhm. Yeah, it sounds like that experience kind of fractured you from your body,
Yeah,
kind of made you dissociate from your body and live in your head. Mhm.
yeah. And I'm sure that's common for a lot of us.
Yeah, so I have a very different approach to anger, not management. We're not going to move away from anger. We're going to move towards it. We're going to know it's valid. And as we connect with our anger, we connect with ourselves. We're kind of waking up. It kind of wakes us up and it brings us back to life, if you will. And that naturally does the managing because as we learn how to be responsible for it, it just kind of settles into itself where it doesn't cause us to explode or turn it inward on ourselves anymore.
It's such a unique approach that I really do believe is so, I mean, just from these exercises you had me do. Thank you for having me do it because it really does show it. And I feel it a bit too. So that's amazing. The
Yeah.
impact of being able to address that kind of core wound that really did change it. And a lot of times it really can go back to anger. You've been absolutely amazing today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And that is why I have my podcast. I want to get this out to more therapists. I do trainings. I've done a couple continuing education trainings for therapists, but I want to get it out to more. There was a lot of time where I didn't know what I was doing as a therapist, and a lot of us don't. And also just to people themselves to do it for themselves. So I call what I did with you an integration exercise, and I still do them to myself, although I don't need to as often now. But you know, our triggers, if you will, are opportunities to integrate with ourselves and to become more whole. And it's really powerful. And we can do that for ourselves.
Yes, we absolutely can. Okay, for those listening who are as mesmerized with you as I am, how can they find your podcast? How can they connect with you, learn more about these trainings, and just continue to learn from you?
Yeah. So my podcast is called Angry at the Right Things. And I do have a YouTube channel too. It's just my name, Bronwyn Schweigerdt. Um, yeah, the trainings, they are for therapists, but there's one on, it's called Light Up the Couch podcast, on anger, where I do a training for other therapists. And the other one I think is with AATBS. So it's on anger. Yeah, there's really nothing out there on anger. It's phenomenal for therapists. There's almost nothing out to train us about anger. So it's a huge niche, both within the therapeutic community and just the broader society.
Thank you so much for listening to Normalize the Conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This podcast is an initiative of Inspiring My Generation, focusing on normalizing the conversation, bringing education and awareness to the forefront, and amplifying global voices to spark change and hope. Inspiring My Generation is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization on a mission towards suicide prevention through awareness, conversation, education, and support. Connect with us on Instagram at Inspiring My Generation and visit our website inspiringmygeneration.org to learn more about our work and how you can make a difference.